Dodgers Nation, what I'm about to break down for you is going to completely reframe how you're thinking about this offseason and what management is planning behind closed doors right now. We're not talking about minor tweaks or depth signings that don't matter. We're talking about decisions that could define whether this franchise completes the three-peat or falls short when it matters most. And the wildest part is that some of these moves are already done, while others are so close to happening that insiders are treating them like foregone conclusions. Before we get into the details, hit that like button and drop a comment telling me which move you think matters most, because this roster construction is about to get fascinating. Let's start with the elephant in the room that nobody expected to become this complicated. Shohei Ohtani, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and Roki Sasaki are all being discussed in relation to the World Baseball Classic. And Dave Roberts just gave an interview in Japan that has people talking. Roberts was asked directly about whether the Dodgers want their Japanese stars pitching in the tournament, and his answer was honest in a way that's going to generate headlines. He said he'd love it if they didn't play, that Yamamoto has pitched a lot, that Roki is coming back from injury, that Ohtani is returning from Tommy John surgery, and that taking a break to get ready for the season would probably be best for the team's goal of winning a third straight championship. Now, here's where this gets delicate and why the front office has to handle this with incredible care. The World Baseball Classic isn't just another tournament for Japanese players. It's national pride. It's legacy defining. And for Ohtani specifically, that moment when he struck out Mike Trout to win the championship is arguably the single greatest moment in Japanese baseball history. You cannot tell me that doesn't belong in any career montage for Shohei. It's iconic, it's legendary. And if he wants to defend that title, if he wants to pitch for Team Japan again, the Dodgers cannot be seen as the organization that tried to stop him. The public relations nightmare that could come from headlines saying the Dodgers are blocking their stars from representing their country would be absolutely catastrophic. Think about what Los Angeles has built here. They've created the ultimate destination franchise for Japanese players. They've positioned themselves as the team that respects and celebrates that culture. They've invested hundreds of millions of dollars in building those relationships. You don't risk all of that by trying to strong-arm your players into skipping a tournament that means everything to them and their fans back home. But at the same time, the baseball logic is undeniable. Yamamoto threw over 170 innings in the regular season, plus another 17 2/3 in the World Series alone. Those are high-stress, high-intensity innings with zero rest between outings. The arm is not a muscle. The ligament is not a muscle. And every single pitch at maximum effort increases the risk of something catastrophic happening. Ohtani is coming off his second Tommy John surgery. Sasaki battled injuries and workload concerns throughout the season. These are not small things to ignore. So where does that leave the organization? My read is that if Ohtani, Yamamoto, and Sasaki come to the front office and say they want to pitch in the WBC, the Dodgers will support them publicly and then privately adjust their plans for how to manage workload during the regular season. Maybe you skip them for the first month of the year. Maybe you build in extra rest days throughout the schedule. Maybe you cap their innings more aggressively than you normally would. But you don't tell them no. You don't play the card of we're paying you $700 million or $325 million, so you have to do what we say. That's not how championship organizations operate. And it's definitely not how you maintain trust with the best players in the world. The other layer to this is how it impacts off-season planning. If all three of those guys are pitching in March and potentially not available until late April or even May, does that change how aggressive the Dodgers get in pursuing starting pitching? Does it make someone like Corbin Burnes more appealing? Does it increase the likelihood they trade for Tarik Skubal if the Tigers make him available? Because, let's be honest, starting pitching has been a question mark for this team in both of the last two championship runs. It was an issue in the regular season in 2024. It was an issue in the postseason in 2025. Every single one of the Dodgers' aces has legitimate health concerns or workload questions. Blake Snell missed most of the year with shoulder problems. Tyler Glasnow has a history of injuries that makes you nervous every time he takes the mound. Ohtani is returning from surgery. Sasaki is young and still building durability. And Yamamoto, as great as he's been, just threw more innings than he ever has in his professional career. If you're Andrew Friedman, you're looking at that rotation and thinking, we need more depth. We need more security. We need another frontline arm that can anchor this staff if anything goes wrong. That's where someone like Skubal becomes fascinating. Two-time Cy Young winner, back-to-back years, potentially the first pitcher since Greg Maddux to win 3 straight. He's represented by Scott Boras, which means he's going to be expensive. But the Dodgers have never been afraid to trade for a star, knowing they have the inside track to extend him long-term. They did it with Mookie Betts. They could absolutely do it with Skubal if Detroit makes him available. And even if that doesn't happen, there are other options, like Joe Ryan from Minnesota, or going after a blockbuster trade involving Byron Buxton to solve center field while addressing pitching at the same time. Now let's talk about the moves that have already happened and the moves that are about to happen, because this is where roster construction gets interesting. Robinson Ortiz, who the Dodgers just added to the 40-man roster on November 6th, is already gone. 10 days later, he was traded to Seattle for Tyler Goff, a 22-year-old right-handed pitcher who's coming off Tommy John surgery. This is classic Dodgers development strategy. Take a young arm recovering from injury, rebuild him with your player development system, and turn him into a weapon in a couple years. It's worked before, and it'll work again. Ortiz was going to walk in free agency anyway, so flipping him for a lottery ticket pitcher with upside is smart business. And then you've got Eliezer Alfonso Jr. signing a minor league deal. This is pure organizational depth. A 26-year-old Venezuelan catcher who spent his entire career in Detroit's system. He's not making the major league roster out of spring training, but he gives you competition behind Will Smith and Dalton Rushing. He gives you insurance if someone gets hurt. He pushes your other catching prospects to be better. These are the kinds of under-the-radar moves that championship teams make to ensure they're covered at every level of the organization. But here's what really matters. The Dodgers currently have 38 players on the 40-man roster. You don't leave 2 spots open unless you're planning to fill them with something significant. And according to multiple insiders, those spots are being saved for Miguel Rojas and Kike Hernandez. Both guys are expected to return on team-friendly deals. And both moves make perfect sense when you understand what this franchise values. Miguel Rojas hit one of the most important home runs in Dodgers postseason history in Game 7 of the World Series. That moment alone probably earned him another contract, but it goes deeper than that. He's an elite defender who can play all over the infield. He's a veteran leader who knows how to prepare for October. He's smart, he's steady, and he doesn't strike out. Those are exactly the qualities you want in a utility player on a championship roster. Mark Feinsand reported that both Rojas and the Dodgers want him back, which means this is probably getting done sooner rather than later. And then there's Kike Hernandez, who might be the most beloved utility player in franchise history at this point. 7 RBIs in the postseason, .250 average, leadership and energy that you can't quantify, but everyone feels. He plays 6 different positions at a high level. He comes alive in October. He's a clubhouse spark plug who makes everyone around him better. And according to Dodgers Nation reporter Noah Kamras, he's projected to return on a 1-year, $7 million deal. If that's the number, that's an absolute steal. You win championships with players like Kike. You build dynasties with players like Kike. And the front office knows that.